Well, we finally got 3 days without rain, and it's coming back tonight. So I've spent the last 3 days scrambling through my commercial hives, trying to stop swarming and identifying a couple that are queenless and some that have already gone land worker. I threw in the queen pheromone strips into them to stop the ones that haven't gone land worker from going, and see if it'll do something to the ones that did. And then I'll start combining some of the nukes that I've got with queens in them into those next week after the rains get done. It's been a real pain. It's in the mornings, it's still trying to rain and it's cold, and you know, so there isn't a whole lot of time to get in and get done what needs done, which then means, you know, you're sore as hell the next day because you're just busting butt to do something you don't do every day. Anyway, I was in one colony today, one of my real strong ones, with one of the queens I brought up from California. 20 frames of bees with a super on them. They were just starting to work in. They had some supersedure cells, about 3 frames of supersedure cells, and they were just starting swarm cells. Well, right about that time Rodney called. I'm scratching my head trying to figure out what to do, and so his suggestion was to pull the queen out and leave them one of the queen cells and brood, and take the queen away, then come back and add her back later once they got their swarm mojo done with, because it should take them out of swarm mode to not have a queen. So I did that. I loaded her up in this box and just turned them loose. So she's got some brood and some bees and some frames that aren't drawn. They're all spread out on it because they've been locked in there. There's only about five of the 8 frames that have bees on them, so that reduced the size of that. I also pulled out a few other frames that had capped queen cells on them. It's like, what the heck, I might as well try to get some queens. I like that queen. So they are not in that box. They're in, what box did I put them in? Oh, they're over here. Too many boxes. So I got a couple of them here, and what I'm going to do is just make mating nukes out of these then, basically. So each one will get a frame, and then I'll put feeders in them, because there's a lot of nurse bees. As you can see, the blackberries blooming. They'll get on it where they can, but you know, these frames that I took are mostly nurse bees. They can't go out and get anything, so I want them to have feed inside. I'll get them some pollen sub and stuff too, so we get set up and make that split. All right, so these queen cells, the swarm cells, have been put on the bottom of the frame, so I've got them blocked up in here to hold the bottom of that frame up. Just have them sitting on some queen cages to keep them from bumping the bottom or getting drawn into the bottom and getting broken. So it's one of the nice things about these Jester boxes. They've got lots of room above. So we're going to give them a little syrup. This is 2-to-1 syrup. I'm not going to give them a lot. This isn't for stimulating growth like a 1-to-1 would be. This is just for them to sustain themselves, be able to have some food. See, I don't want too much. I can add more. I've got some old kind of nasty pollen patties. I'm going to put them in there. I'll have some pollen source if they want it, and then we'll see if they can finish those queen cells. One of them's capped and one of them's just being drawn out, so that will turn them into mating nukes. So probably better open the door on this one, let these girls out a little bit. All right, so that was one way to you know, reduce the size of that colony a little bit and take the swarm mode out of them, and get them to slow down a little bit. I hated to do it. They were a hell of a strong colony. I mean, that's your honey producers right there when you got 2 deeps full of bees. But I'm not gonna be able to get back in them anytime real soon because the rain's coming back. Last thing I need them to do is swarm. I had a number of them that did. I just couldn't get to them over the weekend. I really needed to be on them over that last weekend, but it was pouring. We got better than an inch of rain. So anyway, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Do you pull them out and lose brood and piss off bees, or do you let them do their thing? At least they're strong. I'd rather have them strong enough to be swarming, and I'm worried about that, than have them weak and sickly and just trying to get them to survive. So so lesser of 2 evils, I guess. And it's the way that you know, anything in the agricultural world goes. You don't get to choose what you're working with, you just got to figure it out. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. Now we're going to take off for the weekend and go ride mules in the rain and set the wall tent up and get it all wet. Maybe I get some footage of that. Anyhow, that'll be the last video for a while.